2 weeks now till we kick off high school football.
Unreal.
Yeah. August 15th is when our countdown starts, so that is not less than 2 weeks away. Mount Carmel area has the most wins of any high school football program in the state, but it's been a long time by Mount Carmel standards since the Red Tornadoes have been state caliber contenders. They last won a district title in 2002. The last state championship was 2000, and getting to the district finals is a goal for this proud program.
One of the things we try to do is every July we call it Tornado Pride Month, and after practice, myself or one of the other coaches tell them a story about a state championship game or a great team or a great moment in Mount Carmel area, and we want our kids to kind of develop their own way of doing things, but also our tradition is so important. We want them to recognize and know what they're part of, and know what they're playing for and what came before them to lead them up to this point.
About the 2017 edition of Mount Carmel football, what are you guys looking forward to the most about this season? How excited are you?
I mean, we're really excited. For the first time since I've been there, we have a veteran team. We started a lot of young guys over the past 2 years, and this year it seems like we have everybody back. Everything's positive. Our team's confident, and we just can't wait to get the season started.
For the Super 16 preseason countdown, as Scott said, 4 teams done, 12 more to go. Our next team has a proud program that has been down by their standards the past few seasons, but the tornado warnings are in the area.
Super 16 team number 12, the Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes.
Mount Carmel area has the most wins of any program in state history. They were an uncharacteristic 5-6 last year, but competitive in almost all their games. 10 starters are back on offense. John Ayres, their big quarterback, now becomes a powerful running back, the position he played growing up. Tom REISINGER, a 6'3 sophomore, likely will take the reins from Ayres, who could still take some snaps under center. On defense, 9 starters returned. You've been warned.
We're letting it play out. Now that we have the pads on, we can see a little bit more what each guy can do. But we just feel blessed that we have 2 quarterbacks.
What does Tommy bring to the table as a quarterback?
We call him Tommy the Gunslinger Reisinger. He has a huge arm. He's a big, tall kid, about 6'3", and he's a very good athlete, very good competitor.
I could throw the ball. I'm a pocket passer. I could roll out too.
John was the quarterback last year. How has he kind of helped you learn what it's like to be the Mount Carmel quarterback?
He just taught me a lot from last year, just watching him from being his backup, and he taught me a lot and how much to read the holes when you're running and how to read the defenses and stuff. It's just amazing to be a quarterback for Mount Carmel, like all the history here.
He has the quarterback body. He's tall. He has a strong arm. He's confident, and he just needs to keep working, and he'll be good. The biggest thing at quarterback is to stay calm, keep your composure, and just play your game. Don't get in your head.
What do you think you can do with the ball in your hands as a running back?
Growing up, I was always a running back. 7th, 8th grade year, I was a running back, and then I believe I can make big plays and help the team out on offense.
But with nearly their entire starting lineup back in 2017, the Red Tornadoes are out to blow away their competition. Mount Carmel coming off a 5-6 season and a first-round loss in the District 4 playoffs, but returned 10 starters on each side of the ball. That includes dual threat John Ayres under center, who was nearly at 1,000 yards passing and rushing each last year. And he'll have his entire offensive line coming back.
Some of them have been starting out for 3 years. They've all played together now for at least 1 year. But, that's where everything starts. We're a team that likes to run the football. We got a plethora of backs that either started or have at least 1 or 2 starts under their belt.
We return all 5 of our linemen, which doesn't happen very often, which I'm real happy about. We'll be good. Our offense is a run-first mentality, like Coach said. So I can't wait to start running the ball. Just go get the ball, make plays, hit holes.
Mount Carmel opens its season with a good one at Loyalstock. Moving
to the Silver Bowl, Mount Carmel coming out 7-7 game at the halftime. Then Rosselino Magliapani puts Mount Carmel up 10-7 with the field goal, and with a name like that, he's going to Matucci's after the game. Next possession, Braves give it to Gabe Tilford, and again, this is what SHIKELLAMY does. They hit you with big plays with their speed. 57 yards hauled in right there down to the 10-yard line. Tate Krenkowski, touchdown pass to Lucas Tilford, and the Braves are leading 14-10. Things start to switch, though. That power game of Mount Carmel just wears you down, and they started getting it going. Tom Reisinger to C.J. Reichert. This is to the 25-yard line. Defense had their back turned, and it's a big play, and it loosened them up a little bit. Reisinger goes to Reichert to the 8, and it would set up a touchdown for Reisinger. Mount Carmel, strong second half. They get the win, 31-14.
ALS night, a huge success. I was there in Catawissa for number 1 against number 8. First quarter, no scored. Stone Hollenbach to Preston Zachman, 36 yards down to the 30, but the Mount Carmel defense holds, so it's an Elijah Hoffman field goal, good for 37. Then he was good from 29. He did miss from 39, though. It's 6-0 Southern Columbia. That Mount Carmel defense, though, very stout in the second quarter. Gage Garcia stuffed. He had negative yards running in the first half, but Southern Columbia would strike. Hollenbach to Julian Fleming, 53 yards on the touchdown. PAT no good. It's 12-0 in a surprisingly low-scoring game with these two good offenses. But that Tornado defense just sticking to Fleming like a magnet, hit him hard all night. Look at that, 7 defenders there, 6-yard loss, but Southern's defense just as strong. Max Tillett sacks Tommy Reisinger. It was 12-0 at the half, and the Tigers win it 29-7, your final score. But the Red Tornadoes quarterback Tom Reisinger goes deep to C.J. Reichert. Just for the pass, that's a big game that leads to a field goal, 3-0. Spartans were slow out of the gate. Doug Wiest on the slam, picked off by Avery Demko at the 35, and then 2 plays later, John Ayres goes untouched, 32 yards, and it's 10-0 Mount Carmel area. But give North Schuylkill credit. They did not waver. They fight all the way back. Wiest going deep, and check out the catch here by Scotty Grigas. 71 yards, and North Schuylkill gets a late score. They win this one 21-20. What a win there for the Spartans.
That put at the Silver Bowl, and it was a defensive battle and a parade before the game. Not a parade of points, though. Second quarter, Danville 4th and goal in the 2. Peyton Riley swarmed over by the Red Death defense. Nothing going there. Next possession, though, Austin Miller will break a tackle, go 46 yards. The extra point no good, and Danville has a touchdown in a game that they were hard to come by. Mount Carmel gets the ball to John Ayres. Big guy, was a quarterback last year, but they want to start getting him the ball because he can do these kind of things. 67 yards for a touchdown. Mount Carmel would later get a safety, but a Danville interception late seals the win. It's the Ironman winning 13-9.
Steve Lloyd didn't get a stiff arm. That would have been painful. Lewisburg needed a win over Mount Carmel area to hang on to the 3rd spot in the District 4 AAA playoffs. Nice seeing all those American flags as they take the field. First play for Mount Carmel, toss sweep to the left. C.J. Reichert makes one cut, and the man in red is off to the races. 70-yard touchdown, 7-0 Mount Carmel area. Green Dragons trying to get back in this thing with the pass. Nick Shedleski sacked by Manus McCracken. And then the next possession for Mount Carmel area, Tommy Reisinger, 22-yard pass to Reichert again, and he does the rest. 14-0 at that point. Mount Carmel area wins big, a 58-20 the final. Carmel area, number 9, Selinsgrove. Seals quarterback Logan Libby threw for 425 yards last week, and you can add at least 17 more because that is a 17-yard pass play to Joshua Nyland. Later on that drive, Joseph Kahn in for the score from 5 yards out, just like that, 7-0 a Selinsgrove. Libby off play action, you know he's going deep, 34 yards to Jarrett Inch, more than an inch on that one. It's another Selinsgrove touchdown, 14-0. They get the ball back, they give it to Kahn again. 20-yard run for the first down. Kahn doing it all. Selinsgrove goes on to win 35-14. Battle for the coal bucket. Shamokin and Mount Carmel area. You saw this earlier in the show. Usually a one-sided rivalry in favor of the Red Tornadoes, but not tonight. This was a close game. Jacob Jeremiah making a play, and then Nathan Miller doing the same. They're on the move. Shamokin. This is Devin Pikuski. Look out here. You've got to be aware of the the officials running down the sideline there. That is a long touchdown for Shamokin, but this was Mount Carmel winning in the end, 43-36. They win the Coal Bucket for the 22nd straight time.
Charlotte McBride.
And I'm Scott Schaefer here at home. This was a big night in Northumberland County with the battle for the bucket.
A longtime football rivalry between two schools that police warn may be getting out of hand. Newswatch 16's Sarah Bynowski reports from Mount Carmel.
For more than 60 years now, this has been a football tradition, a battle for the bucket, the annual Coal Bucket game between Mount Carmel area's Red Tornadoes and Shamokin area's Indians. The winning team each year takes ownership of this Coal Bucket.
We graduated in 1975 and we're still after the Coal Bucket.
But could this rivalry be getting out of hand? Mount Carmel Township Police issued stern warnings on the department's Facebook page after nearly a dozen calls for vandalism, mischief, and disturbances related to the big game. A football game is not an excuse to disregard the law. If you are caught damaging the property of another, you will be arrested.
Yeah, with, frozen eggs and stuff like that. It's really something that shouldn't be going on, really. I mean, this is probably the worst I've seen.
Jim Jurassic of Mount Carmel has had his property damaged before.
It's always been a tradition. I mean, kids, when I was back in high school, they, banners and flags and stuff like that. Team members used to basically do their houses up, and then one would go to one side, the other school would go to the other town and rip them down, and that was always, it's almost part of the tradition of the game as far back as I can remember.
Most people we spoke with say this is a harmless rivalry, one they look forward to and enjoy every year. Some say they think maybe taking the Coal Bucket out of it will make things better.
I personally think that because of the bucket, if they would worry less about who's going to win the bucket, I think the vandalism, things like that, would start easing up.
People may disagree on whether the tradition should change, but everyone we spoke with said the same thing about vandals who are caught.
If they do vandalize, you know what? They're going to pay the price, and they should do that. You teach your kids to grow up, you respect everybody's property.
Mount Carmel won this year's Coal Bucket 43-36.
Giddy up for Gideon. And Mount Carmel playing well in this game. They're up 21-7 at the half. They keep Green in check under 100 yards. And then the Mounties mounted a drive. Green breaking a tackle, takes it all the way down to the 5-yard line. You only can hope to contain him. A couple of plays later, he gets the kick-out block and powers in. So Mount Carmel's lead is 21-14. But the Red Tornadoes, they went back to work, and they were an offensive machine. John Ayers, 20-yard run down to the 30-yard line. One way to slow down Green is to keep him on the defensive side of the ball. Shane Widener goes in. That 2-touchdown lead is back 28-14. And then going to the pass, it's intercepted by Michael Cuff. And Mount Carmel area gets the win over South 28-14. In Mount Carmel, the Eagles and Red Tornadoes eliminated higher-seeded teams last week. Tommy Reisinger, the quarterback with the keeper, down to the 1. Next play, Shane Widener goes in, and Mount Carmel in the second quarter leads 28-0. Next possession, Reisinger rolls out, goes to Manus McCracken. He'll get the crack and get knocked out at about the 8-yard line. Reisinger keeps it on the next play, and Mount Carmel is really getting things going now. They're starting to feel momentum. Eagles try to right the ship, but they couldn't do it. McCracken living up to the name there, with the senior making the stop. The Red Death defense as good as the offense. 42-6 your final score, and they'll get their rivals from down the road, Southern Columbia, next week. It has been number 1 since our preseason, and well, that's what I think I told Scott and Charlotte in June. That's who our number 1 team was. Julian Fleming, their sophomore wide receiver, one of the tops in the country. Still bothered by the hamstring pull, but the other sophomore, Gage Garcia, picked up the slack in a rout Central 59-14. Of course, all of their attention is on their neighbors from Mount Carmel. The Red Tornadoes lassoed Line Mountain in the other half of the District 4 AA bracket. A complete game. They led 28-0 and coasted 42-6. The Red Death defense had slowed down the Tigers for big chunks earlier this year. Let's see if they can do it in 4 quarters against the top AA team in the state.
Mount Carmel obviously has a great tradition, and so do we. So, it's kind of like the two best traditional teams in this area that get to play each other. Obviously, we don't get a chance to play Berwick, but it means a lot for both the fan bases. If you can win this game, it's kind of like the Iron Bowl in a sense. The winner of this gets to brag for 365 days.
Ever since week 3, we've been
wait and get back at Southern. They're always like one of our big games other than Shamokin, since they're like the cold bucket game, but Southern's always like the next, like they're the biggest thing, because they're always a good team. We always want to compete with them since they're right across the mountain there.
Southern Columbia, loaded with talented underclassmen, have been #1 all season. A district title is a mere stepping stone to their ultimate goal, which ends in Hershey. But there's no overlooking Friday's game, not when it involves their biggest rival, Mount Carmel area.
It's a real exciting time. This is one of our major goals. We have 3 major goals, districts, to win our side, the Eastern State, and obviously win the state championship. But this is the first one, and especially against a big rival like Mount Carmel, it's a very exciting game. It's a big game for both teams.
It seems like there's been an increase in just the effort, the energy in practice and in the last couple games. And I think anytime you have a team with a lot of returning starters coming off of an outstanding season like we did last year, the expectations are very high for postseason. So once you get there, I think there's just a renewed energy and renewed feeling of excitement amongst the players.
11 games to talk about. Our final coach.
The collision in Catawissa for the District 4 2A title rematch of a 29-7, a Southern win back in September. Early on, it's 3-0 Tigers in the first quarter, but the Red Tornadoes get going on this perfect play call. Screen pass Tommy Reisinger to Shane Widener, 58 yards down to the 12-yard line, and then 2 plays later, Wildcat formation, John Ayres takes the direct snap, 12-yard touchdown. He played quarterback last year. 7-3 Mount Carmel. Tigers can be explosive too. You know how good that offense is. Stone Hollenbach rolling out, throws deep to Julian Fleming, who makes the great catch and says, yes, I caught it. 43 yards down to the 9, but give that Red Tornadoes defense some credit. They step up. Gage Garcia just runs right into the storm. 5-yard loss. Next play, Hollenbach sacked by Manus McCracken. Almost gets him and then gets him. That ends the first quarter, so that sets up a field goal attempt at the start of the second. Elijah Hoffman, his second of the game from 37 yards out. It's good, so it's 7-6. Just before halftime, Tigers trying to run a 2-minute drill, and they don't need that much time. Gage Garcia, tough run, first down. Then it's Garcia going up the sideline, 28 yards for the score. They get the 2-point conversion to take the lead, and it was all Southern in the second half, 49-14 for another district title.